This book saved me from quitting my business last year and going back to the 9 to 5 grind. And I truly believe that every entrepreneur and business owner should read it at least once. Why? Well, because everyone knows Nike. This is one of the most powerful, one of the biggest brands in the world. But not a lot of people know about the story of Phil Knight, the founder, and everything he went through before seeing success with his business. So I read this book last year while I was going through a very hard time in my business, and I was seriously considering quitting. And I remember I was attending a workshop hosted by Amy Porterfield, and of course I love everything she does and everything she says. And she talked about this book and she recommended this book, and she said that every entrepreneur needed to read it, and it was one of her favorite books. So of course I added it to my wish list. The magical part happened just a few weeks later. I was visiting one of my best friends that lives in Amsterdam, and she works for Nike. And I'm not joking, I saw this book on one of her shelves, and it was like the universe telling me, this is your time, you need it. It was one of the most inspiring and motivating books I've ever read, and it got me thinking, if Phil could do it, so can I. I've been wanting to do a video on the biggest lessons I learned from this book as an entrepreneur, but only until now it feels like it's the right time, the right moment to share these with you. And of course there's a lot of different lessons. That's why I really encourage you to go read it. But I'm gonna be sharing my top 10 lessons that you can start applying in your own business and life. So lesson number 1, Phil always had a super clear vision fueled by his passion. Vision is the heartbeat of your entrepreneurial journey. Phil didn't just aspire to sell shoes. He really wanted to create a movement that transcended products. He wanted to build a culture. As an athlete himself, his passion was never about creating athletic footwear. It was about redefining what a brand could represent in people, most specifically in athletes' lives. And that's how Nike became a synonym of a way of life, embodying values and aspirations that resonated globally. So as entrepreneurs, when our vision aligns with our higher purpose, we move beyond business and we start shaping cultures. Lesson number 2, he started in a hyper-specific niche, which was shoes for runners, and then he expanded as his brand grew. And while this was probably not planned, he just started creating shoes because he was a runner and that was his passion. By zooming in into the specific needs of this group, which he was part of, he was able to deliver more value, create better products, and build a much loyal fan base, which obviously allowed him to fine-tune his products, improve them, and know his audience really well. And then as they gained momentum, as they started to expand in the market, they branched out to other sports and other areas. This is super important if you're just starting out as an entrepreneur, because yes, you should try to go for a hyper-specific niche that's gonna allow you to build a more loyal audience and also stand out from competitors. I talked about this in my previous video, focusing on a niche, but building a personal brand. And maybe I should do a whole video about this because it might seem confusing for some people, but start with a hyper-specific niche while you build your personal brand and then expand. The next lesson, and I really loved this one and it gave me goosebumps when I read it, is that we're all creators. Do you remember that moment when everything clicks and you feel like you finally tapped into something bigger than yourself? That's exactly how Phil felt and how he describes it when he finally nailed down the perfect product and the name Nike. And this is a powerful reminder that creation isn't only for artists, inventors, or content creators. Every entrepreneur is a creator. We're bringing ideas to life and we're shaping the world in our own unique way. So don't forget to embrace the creator within you because it's your superpower. The next lesson, and this is a hard one, his business wasn't profitable for the first 20 years, and yet he kept going. 20 years without profits. I don't think I would have been able to handle it. I don't know about you, but Phil persevered. Remember this quote from 1976 when he was talking about how he doubled his sales to $14 million. Guys, we're talking about 1976 and his company was generating $14 million in sales. And yet, he wasn't profitable. Imagine that, but profits weren't his only measure of success. Progress was. And this teaches us that the road to success is rarely a straight line. And that's something I talked about in my previous video as well, about the roller coaster of entrepreneurship. Patience and unwavering commitment will carry us through the lean times until the breakthrough finally arrives. Lesson 5. Despite all the hardships, roadblocks, and problems, he always maintained a positive attitude within his company. And remember that leadership is not about sailing a boat in calm waters. It's also about getting the team together and boosting their spirits up during the storm. Phil faced so many problems, and yet he and his team always found reasons to laugh, to bond, and to stay united. And this positive culture cultivated camaraderie, loyalty, gratitude, and love. So this is a big reminder that we should always maintain a positive environment, whether we have a team or not. The next lesson is about collaborations. He deeply understood the power behind collaborations, and in fact was one of the first brands ever to partner with athletes. Phil saw collaboration not only as a strategy but as an art. By partnering with athletes, Nike just didn't endorse. They built relationships that resonated authenticity. This pioneering move set a brand new standard in marketing and brand loyalty. Remember, we're talking about the 70s. Influencers didn't exist, so these were the first influencers. But even if it's partnering with people from your same industry to do collaborations, to launch products together, collaboration is so powerful. It can amplify our reach and impact in ways we might have never achieved alone. Phil was also a visionary, and he loved experimenting with new things. Innovation was part of Phil's DNA. He was the first person or brand to introduce air cushioning into their sneakers, into their shoes. And this was a leap forward that set Nike apart from their competitors. He wasn't afraid to experiment, to push boundaries. And this willingness to embrace the new was what kept Nike at the forefront. I've talked about this multiple times, but experiment, get out of your comfort zone, try new things. This not only helps you grow, but stand out from competitors, especially in this hyper-saturated internet world. Lesson number 8. Even though there were a lot of moments of doubt and uncertainty, he liked the idea of acting as if things were always going to work out. This is something that I touched on my previous video as well, which is that whether you believe it or not, you're always right. Or if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hands. Attitude shapes reality. And Phil chose to act with confidence and to carry himself as if success was certain, even when doubt was almost inevitable. And he said, quote unquote, "Fortune favors the brave." And I love this because it's not only a saying, it is a way of life. So by embodying this ethos, we position ourselves to seize opportunities that others might miss. The next lesson is that he described business as creating, contributing, and making something better for others. For Phil, business wasn't just about profit margins. It was about making a meaningful impact. He saw his work as contributing to the grand human experience, enhancing lives, fostering health, and bringing joy. Then this perspective transformed a business from a transactional endeavor into a powerful mission. So if you strive to create values that enriches others through your work, adding depth and significance to their lives, your journey is going to be way more fulfilling. And last but not least, I feel like this lesson was actually written for me at this stage of my life, what I'm going through, but it's about giving up. And he talks about how he believed that giving up on a specific idea, pivoting, or changing directions is fine as long as you don't stop. Flexibility is a very important part of entrepreneurship. And Phil understood that sometimes letting go of an idea isn't necessarily failure. It's more like wisdom. See, the thing is that pivoting is not about giving up. It's about adapting and persisting in pursuit of your ultimate goal, of your higher vision. The key is to keep moving forward and to never stop striving. Hard work aligns us with our purpose, and perseverance leads us to our true path. And I have to admit that writing these 10 lessons gave me chills in my body. It's crazy that 1 year after reading this book, these lessons make more sense than ever. And I really feel honored to be able to share them with you. So once again, let me know in the comments which of these lessons resonated the most with you. And I'll see you next week for more entrepreneurial goodness, support, and advice. See ya.